ExamPrep.School, Indiana Public Insurance Adjuster Exam. There are 6 practice exams in this series. This video covers Practice Exam 1. The first 20 questions are free. In this video, we will be covering the following major categories for Practice Exam 1. Adjusting losses, building construction, commercial package policies, dwelling policies, homeowners policies, insurance basics, insurance regulations. Let's walk through the format. I'll read each question and its choices. Let's get started. Question 1. Which definition best captures the primary function of a public insurance adjuster? A. Developing underwriting guidelines and risk assessments for insurance carriers. B. Acting as an independent third party employed by insurers to evaluate and adjust losses. C. Providing legal advice and representing policyholders in judicial proceedings. D. Representing policyholders in preparing, presenting, and negotiating claims under their insurance policies. A countdown circle appears in the top right. Once it completes, the answer is revealed. You can pause at any time if you'd like, longer to think. If you'd like additional practice covering more topics, see the description for our book. The correct answer is D. This option is correct because public insurance adjusters are licensed to act solely on behalf of policyholders in preparing, documenting, and negotiating claims with insurers. Reason A is not correct. Underwriting guideline development is performed by underwriters, not adjusters. Reason B is not correct. Describes the role of an independent adjuster working for insurers, not a public adjuster serving policyholders. Reason C is not correct. Legal representation in court is outside the licensing authority of public adjusters. Question 2. Which duty differentiates an independent insurance adjuster from a public adjuster? A. Advising policyholders on policy coverages and insured responsibilities. B. Negotiating indemnity settlements directly with insurers on behalf of policyholders. C. Engaging third-party experts to develop damage estimates for claimants. D. Acting exclusively on behalf of insurers to investigate, evaluate, and process claims. The correct answer is D. This option is correct because independent adjusters are appointed by and work for insurance companies to handle claims on the insurer's behalf. Reason A is not correct. Policy advice to insured parties falls within the service of public adjusters, not independent adjusters. Reason B is not correct. Represents a public adjuster's role of advocating for policyholders, not an independent adjuster. Reason C is not correct. Both adjuster types may engage experts, so this is not unique to independent adjusters. Question 3. During a claim consultation, a policyholder asks the public adjuster, "If I invoke the policy's appraisal clause and receive an award, will that affect my right to sue under the policy? Also, can you represent me at any appraisal hearing?" What is the most appropriate response? A. Explain in detail how invoking appraisal could bar future litigation under Indiana law. B. Offer to draft legal pleadings and represent the policyholder in any appraisal hearing. C. Provide the policy language and summarize coverage terms, then advise obtaining legal counsel for litigation questions. D. Assist in scheduling the appraisal process and clarify that legal questions should be directed to an attorney. The correct answer is D. The public adjuster may explain procedures related to the appraisal process and facilitate scheduling, but must refer any legal questions about litigation rights to an attorney. Reason A is not correct. Invoking the appraisal clause does not necessarily bar litigation, and explaining its legal effects exceeds an adjuster's authority. Reason B is not correct. Drafting pleadings and representing in hearings constitutes unauthorized legal practice. Reason C is not correct. While providing policy forms and summaries is acceptable, offering legal counsel on litigation questions is beyond the adjuster's role. Question 4. After a public adjuster receives a signed contract from an insured to handle a property loss claim, what is the first step they should take in the investigation workflow? A. Send a notice of representation to the insurance company. B. Review the policy declarations to confirm coverage. C. Schedule a preliminary site inspection. D. Request the insured's proof of loss documentation. The correct answer is A. The correct answer is to send a notice of representation to the insurance company, as this formally establishes the adjuster's authority before any further claim actions. Reason B is not correct. Reviewing the policy declarations is critical but follows formal notification of representation. Reason C is not correct. Scheduling a site inspection occurs after authority is established and the insurer has been notified. Reason D is not correct. Requesting proof of loss is done later to document the claim, not as the initial step. Question 5. Which document is primarily used by a public adjuster to establish the precise date and cause of loss during initial claim analysis? A. The contractor's repair estimate. B. The insurer's claims handling guidelines. C. The insured's signed proof of loss form. D. The policy conditions section. The correct answer is C. The correct answer is the insured's signed proof of loss form, which explicitly records the date and circumstances of the loss as provided by the claimant. Reason A is not correct. Repair estimates address repair cost, not the official date or cause of the loss event. Reason B is not correct. Claims handling guidelines outline procedures but do not specify the insured's actual date or cause of loss. Reason D is not correct. Policy conditions define coverage terms but do not record the specific loss date and cause. Question 6. During a property damage site inspection, which precaution is most critical to ensure the adjuster's personal safety? A. Wearing non-slip protective footwear. B. Verifying that all utilities have been shut off. C. Photographing all structural damage before entry. D. Conducting measurements with a laser device. The correct answer is B. The correct answer is verifying that all utilities have been shut off, which prevents hazards from live electricity, gas leaks, or water that could threaten personal safety. Reason A is not correct. Protective footwear is important, but secondary to eliminating live utility risks. Reason C is not correct. Photographing damage helps documentation but does not directly mitigate hazard exposure. Reason D is not correct. Using a laser device aids accuracy but offers no protection against active utilities. Question 7. After investigating hail damage beneath a collapsed carport, an adjuster needs to ensure accurate photographic documentation despite uneven lighting. Which approach most effectively provides verifiable evidence of each damage point for insurer review? A. Capture oblique angle images emphasizing contextual framing of the damaged areas. B. Obtain overhead drone footage without ground-level close-ups. C. Record high-resolution close-ups of each damage point with digital scale, timestamp, and GPS metadata. D. Take a single wide-angle panoramic shot covering the entire carport area. The correct answer is C. The correct answer is high-resolution close-up photos with scale, timestamp, and GPS metadata, which provide precise, verifiable evidence of damage severity and location. Reason A is not correct. Oblique angles can distort the severity and true dimensions of damage, reducing accuracy. Reason B is not correct. Drone footage may miss critical close-up details and lack scale and metadata required for precise valuation. Reason D is not correct. Panoramic shots sacrifice resolution and detail, making it hard to assess each damage point accurately. Question 8. During a post-flood claim, an adjuster must inventory personal property across multiple rooms, containing numerous small electronics and jewelry. Which method most comprehensively meets insured documentation standards? A. Develop an itemized spreadsheet capturing description, serial numbers, age, actual cash value, photos, and verified receipts. B. Request the homeowner to draft a list of items and submit available receipts. C. Photograph the entire room, contents without individual itemization. D. Group similar items into categories with estimated counts and replacement costs. The correct answer is A. The correct answer is using a detailed spreadsheet with item descriptions, serial numbers, age, valuation, photos, and receipts to ensure verifiable, item-level documentation. Reason B is not correct. Relying on homeowner drafts risks incomplete or inaccurate entries without professional verification. Reason C is not correct. Room photographs alone lack individual item details, making precise valuation impossible. Reason D is not correct. Category grouping sacrifices item-specific information required for accurate claim settlement. Question 9. Which of the following most accurately characterizes replacement cost valuation in property insurance? A. Payment to repair or replace damaged property with new materials of like kind and quality without deduction for accrued depreciation. B. Payment equal to the replacement cost of the property minus accrued depreciation at the date of loss. C. Payment based on comparable property market sales without regard to replacement expenses. D. Payment covering replacement cost reduced by salvage value recovered from damaged property. The correct answer is A. Replacement cost valuation requires the insurer to pay the full expense of repairing or replacing damaged property with materials of like kind and quality without subtracting depreciation, ensuring policyholders receive the cost of new construction rather than its aged value. Reason B is not correct. This describes actual cash value, which subtracts depreciation from replacement cost. Reason C is not correct. This refers to a market value approach, not replacement cost valuation. Reason D is not correct. This applies a salvage value deduction, which is not part of replacement cost valuation. Question 10. Which factor is least relevant when estimating depreciation on a roof covering under an actual cash value settlement? A. Age of the roofing materials. B. Material composition of the roof covering. C. Roof slope pitch. D. Overall condition compared to similar structures. The correct answer is C. Depreciation calculations focus on the material type, its age, and current condition relative to expected useful life. Roof pitch affects installation cost or performance, but is not a standard depreciation determinant. Reason A is not correct. Age directly influences how much useful life has been consumed and is central to depreciation. Reason B is not correct. Different roofing materials have distinct expected lifespans, so composition is key to depreciation. Reason D is not correct. Comparing condition to similar roofs gauges wear and tear, a core depreciation factor. Question 11. An adjuster is evaluating damage to a homeowner's 12-year-old real oak hardwood flooring, noting minimal scratches but wear on the finish in high-traffic areas. When calculating depreciation for the interior finish, which factor should the adjuster weigh most heavily? A. The age of the flooring. B. The local average cost of labor. C. The current market replacement cost per square foot. D. The original quality grade of the oak. The correct answer is D. This option is correct because the original material quality determines expected service life and directly influences depreciation calculations for hardwood finishes. Reason A is not correct. Age is relevant but less significant than material quality when determining the remaining service life of hardwood. Reason B is not correct. Labor cost influences replacement expense but does not drive the depreciation percentage of the existing finish. Reason C is not correct. Replacement cost affects claim settlement value, not the percent depreciation based on condition and material. Question 12. Following a severe storm, an adjuster prepares an estimate including overhead and profit at 15%. The homeowner will perform interior painting, while a licensed roofing contractor will replace damaged shingles. According to common estimating standards, to which portion of the work should overhead and profit be applied? A. Roofing shingle replacement only. B. Interior painting only. C. Both roofing replacement and interior painting. D. The entire estimate, including homeowner performed work. The correct answer is A. This option is correct because overhead and profit are applied only to work performed by hired contractors, not to work self-performed by the homeowner. Reason B is not correct. Interior painting is self-performed and thus not eligible for contractor overhead and profit. Reason C is not correct. Including homeowner performed work is incorrect because only subcontracted scopes qualify for overhead and profit. Reason D is not correct. Homeowner performed repairs are not eligible for overhead and profit inclusion. Question 13. Which of the following is a mandatory element of a valid proof of loss submission under Indiana's public insurance adjuster regulations? A. A statement signed by the insurer's representative acknowledging the claim. B. A sworn itemized statement of loss executed by the insured. C. Original purchase invoices for each damaged or lost item. D. A copy of the policy's declarations page. The correct answer is B. The correct answer is that a valid proof of loss must include a sworn, itemized statement of loss executed by the insured. The other listed documents may aid in supporting a claim, but are not required elements for a proof of loss under Indiana regulations. Reason A is not correct. A statement from the insurer's representative is not required as part of the proof of loss submission. Reason C is not correct. Original purchase invoices may support valuation but are not a mandatory element of proof of loss. Reason D is not correct. The policy declarations page shows coverage details but is not required in the proof of loss itself. Question 14. During finalizing a fire loss claim, the insurer presents a settlement release to the homeowner for signature. What is the primary purpose of this release? A. To confirm the accuracy of the loss amount determined. B. To waive the homeowner's right to pursue further compensation for this loss. C. To document receipt of settlement funds for tax reporting. D. To grant the insurer rights to any remaining salvage. The correct answer is B. The correct answer is that the release permanently waives any future claims or actions related to the loss, ensuring the insurer is fully discharged from additional liability for that incident. Reason A is not correct. Confirming the loss amount is part of claim negotiation but not the legal effect of a release. Reason C is not correct. Tax documentation is separate. The release's function is not primarily for tax purposes. Reason D is not correct. Salvage rights may be addressed elsewhere, but a release's main purpose is to waive further claims. Question 15. After issuing a partial payment for emergency roof repairs on a water damage claim, the insurer notes the payment is not final. Which concept best differentiates a partial payment from a final payment? A. Terminates the insurer's obligation to investigate any further damage. B. Enables the insurer to retain ownership of damaged materials. C. Keeps the insurer liable for the remaining claim amount without requiring a release. D. Limits how the policyholder may use the settlement funds. The correct answer is C. The correct answer is that a partial payment does not discharge the insurer's liability for any remaining loss and does not involve execution of a full release. Reason A is not correct. A partial payment does not stop further investigation of additional damages. Reason B is not correct. Retention of damaged materials pertains to salvage, not payment type. Reason D is not correct. Fund usage restrictions are not inherent to distinction between partial and final payments. Question 16. Which of the following is a core component that must be documented in the initial field report prepared by a public insurance adjuster? A. Exhaustive list of applicable building code violations on the property. B. Photographic documentation of visible damage and preliminary cost estimates. C. Depreciation and salvage value calculations for recovered materials. D. Legal assessment of coverage disputes based on policy exclusions. The correct answer is B. The initial field report focuses on documenting site conditions and estimating damage costs. Photographic evidence of visible damage and preliminary cost estimates are fundamental to assessing the claim and planning next steps. Reason A is not correct. Building code violations analysis is not typically included in the initial damage assessment. It may be part of later remediation planning. Reason C is not correct. Calculations for depreciation and salvage values are developed during valuation, not in the initial field report. Reason D is not correct. A legal analysis of coverage or exclusions is conducted separately by coverage specialists, not in the initial loss documentation. Question 17. In the context of insurance contracts, which of the following elements is exemplified by the insured's promise to pay a premium? A. A lawful purpose. B. Consideration. C. Mutual assent. D. Capacity of the parties. The correct answer is B. The premium paid by the insured constitutes the consideration element, which is the value exchanged to form an enforceable contract. Reason A is not correct. A lawful purpose ensures the contract's subject matter is legal, but it is not represented by premium payment. Reason C is not correct. Mutual assent refers to offer and acceptance, not the insured's payment. Reason D is not correct. Capacity of the parties addresses legal competence, not the exchange of value. Question 18. Under insurance contract law, the insurer's acceptance of the insured's application is typically indicated by which occurrence? A. Delivery of the policy, contract, and declarations page. B. Agent's acknowledgement of receipt of application. C. First premium payment by insured. D. Underwriter's internal approval memorandum. The correct answer is A. Acceptance occurs when the insurer issues and delivers the policy documents to the insured, communicating agreement to the proposed terms. Reason B is not correct. Acknowledging receipt of an application does not itself bind the insurer to the terms. Reason C is not correct. Payment of premium is the insured's offer, not the insurer's acceptance. Reason D is not correct. An internal approval memorandum is not communicated and thus does not constitute acceptance. Question 19. Sarah applies for a homeowner's policy by submitting a signed application and pays a $200 deposit toward the $1,200 annual premium. The insurer issues a temporary binder pending full underwriting. Under contract law principles, which element represents the applicant's consideration to support the insurer's promise to indemnify? A. The signed insurance application. B. The estimate of property value provided. C. The $200 deposit paid toward the premium. D. The issuance of the temporary binder by the insurer. The correct answer is C. The correct answer is the deposit premium, since consideration in an insurance contract consists of the insured's payment of premium, even if partial, in exchange for the insurer's promise to indemnify. Reason A is not correct. Submitting an application is required to initiate coverage but does not itself constitute the insured's contractual consideration. Reason B is not correct. Providing a value estimate assists underwriting, but is not the premium payment needed for contractual consideration. Reason D is not correct. Issuing a binder is the insurer's promise, not the insured's act of consideration. Question 20. Which of the following elements is least likely to appear on the declarations page of a standard property insurance policy? A. List of named perils covered. B. Policy effective and expiration dates. C. Scheduled deductible amounts. D. Total premium for the policy term. The correct answer is A. The listed perils are specified in the insuring agreement rather than on the declarations page, which focuses on policy facts, limits, and premiums. Reason B is not correct. Policy dates are core information included on the declarations page and are incorrect for this question. Reason C is not correct. Deductible details are shown on the declarations page, so this option is not the correct answer. Reason D is not correct. Premium amounts are displayed on the declarations page and do not match what the question is asking. Enjoyed this practice test? Tap like, hit subscribe, and share it with a classmate. Got a question we should tweak? Comment below, we read them all. Find full practice exam books in the description or at ExamPrep.School.